Ryan Serhant. He is the star of $1 Million Listing New York, and that show airs every Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on Bravo. And Ryan Serhant, he is the Executive Vice President and Managing Director of Nest Seekers International, and in less than 5 years in New York City, he has sold nearly $1 billion in real estate and was ranked as one of the top 20 real estate brokers out of 28,000 brokers in New York City by The Real Deal magazine. Ryan, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming on this show. Ryan, I've watched your show for the past 2 seasons and now into the 3rd season. I'm very impressed with your dedicated work ethic and high-energy approach to real estate. How do you stay so competitive in New York City, probably one of the most competitive real estate markets, in the country?
That's a good question, actually, and I get asked that a lot. I think I'm able to stay competitive because the business is competitive. I mean, if you're not competitive by nature, if you're not a fighter by nature, if you don't want to do more and more and more every day by nature, then you're not going to be able to do this business in New York City because there's just too many other people that want it more than you do. There's I play motivational speeches from sports movies for new agents that I meet or that I'm training, just because it's the same thing, right? I mean, how badly do you want it? Just because there's 30,000 other real estate agents south of 96th Street who want it more than you.
And I'm, very impressed. I was watching, an interview with you, and you were talking about your daily schedule. Tell me a little bit in the audience about that. I mean, you getting up at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning to begin your day? Tell us a little bit about that.
Just before 4:30.
That's incredible.
I learned early on, as I was working with, a lot of other brokers and kind of seeing and monitoring where people were succeeding and where they were not succeeding. And I think it's tough for people to be their own boss. When you're a real estate agent, yes, there's a lot of other real estate agents, and yes, you're working with clients, and yes, you do have a boss who's your, licensed broker where you hang your license, or maybe you have a manager, but you don't get paid unless you make money. So unless you succeed, right, then you starve. So I looked around and saw that the top brokers, and this was like 5 years ago, were very structured. They had someone specifically who only managed their calendar and their schedule. They had, junior brokers underneath them who were helping them with showings for other brokers. Their days were very, very, very structured so that they were getting the absolute most done in any given day, because they have to be their own CEO, CFO, and COO of their own individual company. So that's the reason I'm so structured, is because I don't know how else I would be able to stay on top of everything I have going on and building new business at the same time if I just kind of woke up and said, what am I going to do today?
Right. Now, the show, the $1 Million Listing show in New York, has spun you as kind of the single bachelor type that is real estate focused 24/7. Just a question, is this accurate? And I just recall, the Hurricane Sandy episode where that storm came through the upper Northeast there, and it kind of spun you as kind of, when the city shut down, the real estate business, was impacted by the storm. It kind of spun you as, being alone and kind of reflecting on, not having, a family and friends that, you had developed significant relationships with. Is that accurate? And are you looking to kind of develop, that more in your business? Because I know that's also a challenge with myself, that I spend so much time in the business. It's hard to develop, meaningful relationships outside of the business.
That's also a good question. It is definitely difficult. I will say that. Yes, $1 Million Listing season 1 and 2 portray me very much as a bachelor party boy, who's good at what he does, but is also kind of crazy. And this season is actually a little bit terrifying for me. We haven't even gotten to the episodes that are going to be, a little bit hard for me to watch because they get very, very, very personal. And that was something that I chose to do this year, just because I was a little bit tired of watching, basically, 22 episodes over season 1 and season 2 of me just kind of being a little bit, shallow, let's say, kind of sarcastic all the time. And that's really not the way I am all the time, right? I mean, this show, they follow us, but they're not with me, 24/7. And so this year I really wanted to show, kind of just peel back the onion a little bit. And so you get to see that and the difficulties that I have with maintaining friendships and relationships, because I don't just have a 9 to 5, because I need to make money. I need to work. If a client calls me at 11 p.m. and they're trying to get out of a deal because they're nervous about it, I need to be able to leave my bed or leave, wherever I am and go and meet with that client and calm them down and, take them out for a drink until 4 a.m. And then, get the deal done, then go home, change in my workout clothes, and just go to the gym and start the day all over again.
Yeah, and that's something
that kind of lifestyle doesn't work for us.
Yeah, and it's something that I have a challenge with in my own life. When business calls, I'm quick to jump on it, as I see that you are too, and it can be very difficult for top producing real estate brokers in the business to develop relationships that truly step away from the work that we're involved in.
Yes.
Now
I agree with you.
Yeah, the show. Now your show is now in the 3rd season. How did you come to be selected for this show? What was the selection process like?
Well, for me, it was crazy. It was strictly an open call. I didn't know anybody. I hadn't pitched myself to anybody. They put a casting notice in The Real Deal and on Curbed, and then basically the word got around between all the brokerages and the agents that $1 Million Listing New York was going to start, and they're casting it. So literally every single agent in the city under the age of 35 started walking around town saying, yeah, no, I'm doing that show. I'm doing that show. Yeah, they called me. It's cool. I don't know if I really want to do it, though. I don't know if I want to be a Kardashian.
Right.
And then I went to a casting call when they did finally come and do it at the Hudson Hotel with like 3,000 other people, and embarked on this 6-month casting process, and then didn't hear anything for a couple months, and then they called back and said, we've narrowed it down to 1,500, and you're one of those, so we want you to do this. It's like, great. And then didn't hear anything, and then they would call back and say, sorry, we've just been so busy, we've narrowed it down to this many. And here I am 3 years later.
It's very, very, I've greatly enjoyed the show, but does the show itself get business for you, or is this something you just kind of use as a marketing piece to get you in front of different sellers and buyers?
It's both. It is a marketing piece. It is a commercial for myself on primetime television that is aired all over the world. And I'm a salesman. Like I said, I don't get a salary. No one cares. I only make money when I succeed at my job, which is selling homes. So the more people who know what I sell, the better.
But do you find the show gets you business, but you use it obviously to market?
Yeah, people see it, and they don't know a broker. Not everyone is best friends with a real estate agent. And so if they don't know a real estate agent, and they reach out to me, they know that by seeing the show that I'm a real estate broker. I live and work in New York City, and if they're looking for a home, they reach out. I get calls every single day, like literally every single day. A lot of it is from crazy people, or people wanting me to sell their house in Panama, which I can't do, nor would I want to do. But it's been great for business. I would literally say from the day I started the show until now, my business is dectupled.
That's very interesting, very exciting to hear as well. Ryan, so please stay tuned. I've got to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. If you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 WHNZ WHNZ. On air, we've got Ryan Serhant, star of $1 Million Listing, which airs every Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on Bravo. Please stay tuned. Be back in a moment.
Since opening its doors 120 years ago, Stewart Title Company has established a lasting legacy of providing professional title services. Even other title insurance companies know Stewart Title Company because they do their actual underwriting for them. Stewart is here to provide a wide range of resources to help improve any real estate transaction. To learn more about protecting yourself against hidden title hazards that may threaten your financial investment, call Melissa Stoddard at 813-431-8025. That's 813-431-8025.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage. You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 WHNZ WHNZ. Now, Ryan, I'm very impressed, with your outside-of-the-box thinking to get your listing sold, specifically the listing on $1 Million Listing where the owner greatly restricted your ability to show and market the property, and you, unbeknownst to him, allowed a music group to film a music video inside his apartment, and then you used that video to take the home to the marketplace. Tell us a little bit more about this and how you were able to smooth over the situation when the owner found out.
How do I want to answer this question? I was very nervous when that episode came out because I felt like, when you watch it on TV, it's very different from when we do it in real life, right? And the way it felt to me anyway, when I was watching on the show was, like I was doing something very bad, and it almost seemed like I was like breaking and entering,
right,
which I wasn't doing. But I'm a broker, right? I have to get a deal done. That's the goal. I'm not a tour guide. I'm not just trying to.
Right, but the owner wouldn't allow you to have any broker opens, and it was really tough to get people into the property.
And I had to get the word out about this apartment, and I wanted to do something that was going to make a splash and get people talking, and so I was introduced to Mary C, and we just the timing kind of just all worked out. She was looking for a place in the city to do this thing, and I said, listen, I won't charge you if you don't charge me. We'll do it. It'll be mutually beneficial. Let's make this work. And so that's how we did it. And then it worked, which is totally crazy. But very, very, very awesome. But that said, I try to do that all the time. And for better or for worse, I really do get bored with kind of the standard marketing techniques that brokers employ, just because I don't want to be something who, I don't want to be just a regular broker who just, takes photos of listings and sticks them on the internet and hopes they sell and do paperwork. Like, I have no intention of just turning on the lights my entire life, right? I would rather do something else. So the fact that I'm at a company that allows me to do whatever I want, and the fact that I am, able to do this show and I can kind of show off my ideas, this way I can have more fun. I mean, if this year, season 3, we made a commercial with like helicopters and Ferraris and all this stuff for one of the penthouses I'm selling at a building that has your own personal car elevator to take your car up to your penthouse. And no other broker would ever do that. One, because it's way too expensive, and two, because it's crazy.
Yeah,
but that's why I like it. I mean, that's why it's fun for me.
Yeah, I've always been very impressed with your ability, to set the bar very high with your marketing techniques. Do you develop a specific marketing plan for each listing, as opposed to just kind of throwing them all into the standard plan?
Yes. Every listing is a different puzzle for me. So, I also kind of develop it by price point, right? I mean, because I am running my own business, I have to look at how much I'm spending. So, it's a P&L, right? So it's profit and loss. So I'm looking at what's the potential profit on, this sale, and then I look at what I think I can allocate from that potential to the, my advertising budget. And a lot of times I then throw that number out the window and spend way too much just because I want to, and because I think it'll work, and because I think, creative and interesting and successful marketing in my business pays derivatives in a way that nothing else can. So, I mean, you just asked me about that music video. I get asked about that music video, I'd say, at least once every other day.
It was definitely a very entertaining
I've
episode.
gotten listings from it, just not from people who want me to make a music video in their apartment, but because they meet with 10 brokers, and they're all boring. They all come in there with the same pitch. They all say they have a great network. They all say they have great relationships. They all say they have unlimited advertising. It's the same stuff. And then they're like, oh, well, this guy makes music videos. This guy goes like above and beyond. And I don't have the standard elevator pitch. So every single listing is I strategize specifically for it.
Yeah, and it's definitely very impressive to watch you work on the television show. And I myself, if I was up in New York, I would definitely be calling you to list and sell my property. Unfortunately, I don't have any property up in New York just yet, but when I do, I'll definitely be getting you on the phone up there. But Ryan,
good, I'll be ready.
Awesome to hear, Ryan. In this age of internet-based marketing, many brokers have come to rely strictly on just the internet. And I heard an interview with you recently where you were talking about the benefits of direct mail, and I listened very closely to that because that's something that a lot of brokers don't, or any salesman uses anymore. Are you still finding success from direct mail campaigns?
Yes. I do a lot of direct mail because I can't walk around my neighborhood and knock on people's doors. I'll get arrested. It's New York City. So the only way I can reach people who I don't know and who have homes that they own is by direct mail. I still think, no one sends me personal letters anymore. No one writes me letters.
Right.
And the people who do write me letters, I always follow up with those people because they took the time. And in this day and age when everyone walks down the street staring at their phone instead of, taking in the city around them or their neighborhood around them, who'd rather put their life, in danger because they had to get that text out when they were turning a corner in their car. Little things like that, just taking a few extra seconds of your day to send a nice personal note to someone who, you want to sell their home because you may have a buyer or something like that, goes a long, long way.
And
that said, I don't just do direct mailing. I do a significant amount of marketing. I spend thousands of dollars every single day just on marketing and mailers and postcards and this and that and any kind of advertising you can think of, I do it. So all of it combined helps build business and build awareness.
Very good. That's some great information. I think the personal touch of direct mail has kind of escaped the general business of real estate brokers, at least in the Tampa Bay region where I'm at. So many brokers just kind of rely on internet based marketing, and then we've lost a lot of the personal touch. So a lot of the selling agents and other realtors out there in the community that are listening to me, that's a great tip. From a great real estate professional, Ryan Serhant up in New York. Now, Ryan, one thing that is obvious about you on the show is your high level of confidence when dealing with buyers and sellers at all levels. This is also one of my core values of success. Do you feel your confidence is innate, or is this something that you've developed? And are there times when you are intimidated when approaching different sellers and buyers and representing them?
Not now. When I first started, sure, right? Because it's about experience. You always feel more comfortable talking to somebody who, you're experienced with talking to. Because you've been down that road 10,000 times and you've had that conversation 10,000 times. So, when I meet very, very big sellers who have very big properties, I know they have very big expectations, and I know that I have intense competition that I'm going up against, and I have to really prove myself. So, I treat those situations, like I treat every other situation, but, I guess I have to plan a little bit better because I want to really come up with something, a unique pitch, let's say.
So I would say that your confidence, has been developed through the business, and this is something that I try to coach other, real estate agents on. Just get out there and do it, and the confidence will come as you get in front of more buyers and sellers and representing them. So I think, just in listening to you, that you would say that your confidence has been developed in the real estate business over the past several years in which you've been an agent. Would you say that's correct?
Yes, absolutely. Your confidence always develops as your business grows. But I was always confident, for better or for worse. Mm-hmm. That was always one of my things because there was no reason not to be. Mm-hmm. I remember, even growing up, right, when I first started dating, I remember being nervous about asking a girl out, and my dad saying to me, what's the worst thing that can happen? Why don't you just ask her? I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm just so nervous to do it.
Right.
The worst thing can happen is she'll say no, and she'll hang up the phone. Worse things have happened to you in your life. You once fell off your bike and broke your arm. That was a lot worse than a girl saying no on the phone, right?
Right.
And so when you put it into perspective like that, then it's like, oh, you're right. Everybody is probably nervous. Everybody doesn't want to be rejected. So I might as well just, swing. And yes, I'm going to strike sometimes, but the more I swing, the more hits I'm going to have. So, I might as well be confident. I might as well go out there and tell everyone that I'm the absolute greatest because I believe it, and I'll get the job done because I know I will. And if I hire anybody else, then they're doing a disservice to themselves, and it sounds like they like to light money on fire.
Gotcha. Now, Ryan, I have to ask, because a lot of people wanted me to bring this up with you. The show portrays a very competitive, almost toxic relationship between you and Frederick Eklund. Tell me, is this exaggerated, and what is your true opinion of Frederick on the show?
I think Frederick is a very successful broker. We are two very competitive people who, yes, we've had our differences, and this show shows that. But, all brokers have their differences. That's kind of the great thing about New York, is that we all have to work together. So you can have your differences, and you can fight and yell and maybe not talk to each other for a week, or you'll have a deal that goes bad and everyone's angry. But then you're going to meet each other on another deal a lot sooner than you think. So, we talk a lot. We, have to do all this press for season 3 right now, and we're cordial. It's all business. It's all business. Nothing's ever personal. It's not high school.
So it's something you have a business relationship. You're obviously involved in a lot of just the show together a lot. So you would say that you all are probably, business friends at least, would you say?
Correct.
Okay. And the other person on the show, Luis, describe your relationship with him.
Luis is a funny guy. He is the most persistent broker I have ever met, which is why I think he's doing so well so quickly. I mean, I thought I spent a lot of time on the phone. I mean, I thought I was like the king of follow-up. I mean, that guy just won't go to bed. He won't go to bed until he gets what he wants. And you have to be that way, right? Your first question was talking about how competitive New York is. How do you stay competitive? And for him, it's just, absolutely not giving up. And I do a deal with Luis this year on season 3, and it's the first deal I've ever done with him. And the cameras followed us, and they watched the whole thing, and I really got to know him. And he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's the kind of guy that would step in front of a bus for you.
Well, Ryan, I greatly appreciate you being on my show. And again, we've been talking with Ryan Serhant, star of $1 Million Listing New York. That show airs every Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on Bravo. Ryan, real quick for the audience, because we do have the Tampa based, a lot of New York-based people here in Tampa. Give out your contact information for the audience, so in case they need a real estate broker up in New York.
Sure. The best way to contact me is going to be email. And my email is Ryan, RYAN as in Nancy, at nestseekers.com. And that's nest as in bird's nest, seekers, like you're going to seek something out. So SEEKERS as in Sam.com.
Great. Ryan, thank you very much for being on the show, and greatly looking forward to the 3rd season of $1 Million Listing again every Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on Bravo. Ryan, enjoy the rest of your week, and good luck with real estate up there in New York.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. If you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Back in a moment, and we're going to be talking with co-host Melissa Stoddard about title insurance and some other need-to-know information about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Please stay tuned.